Hey, welcome to today's video. Now, if you are new to the channel and you'd like to learn more about cryptocurrency, hit that subscribe button and obviously press that bell button. Now, got to talk about Insolar INS ecosystem as it used to be called. Is this a money-making opportunity? This looks quite interesting in terms of when to buy, when to sell. But again, like anything on my channel, I like to go over all the altcoins I can think of realistically as an opportunity for you guys to earn some wonga. Why? Because too many people are shilling crap and too many people are not teaching people the basics on how to buy into a coin, how to look into it, and this will be a little series on Insolar. Let's start. So, links below, guys. Check out $250 Bitcoin giveaway. You can enter that competition. Free Telegram group, premium for 99p, all that good stuff. You will learn a lot. I also have a live Zoom on tonight, so if you want to attend, hit me up and I will tell you the details. Now, let's talk about Insolar. Why? Because a lot of things happening over the next month. Mainnet is one. Wallets, staking, reward, release, Martinor details, all that kind of good stuff makes prices go a bit. However, dominance is low, so don't worry too much about it at the minute because it's quite low still. It hasn't really pumped yet. It's pumped about 30%, went down a little bit, and you know, still plenty of time, but the dominance is really high. But this is more of an educational thing if you're looking as an investor to get into the trend. Okay, now trends don't really happen much on altcoins, I'm going to be honest with you, but there is also, you know, learn from this element. Okay, if you found a coin that's hyped up a little bit, cool. Do your research, cool. Find your entry point, cool. Look to sell, get profits, win. Now, Insolar is relatively old. It's not, in retrospect terms, in cryptocurrency, it is kind of old. It's been around for over a year now. Yeah, most coins don't even last that long. Mainnet is coming and all that good stuff, but it has literally came out in the bear market and went boing, died. Doesn't mean that it's a bad project. It's quite the opposite. I quite kind of like the idea of it. I think it's got a genuine use case. You know, staking's kind of useful as well, and all that kind of good stuff within this as an element of a coin is kind of useful. Okay, and I want to explain more about it. So, in terms of Insolar, it's a global technology company building a public and private blockchain solution on their own platform. It's going to be secure, flexible, and scalable for business. Okay, so don't worry too much about other things that you may never use, but there's elements on this that you may actually use. I'm going to mention it. Food shopping, possibly in there somewhere. Insolar Blockchain Platform is a solution which streamlines interaction between companies. The platform's key features, as described by the team, are unlimited scalability, security, simplified development, user protection, and regulatory compliance. Okay, now big elements of this, we're going to explain part of it. Now, this is a basic video, so if you are a hardcore fan of this coin, I'm going to glance over it because I don't want to bore people to death. Some people are just not interested in what it is, they're more interested in how will I make money from this, so just be mindful of that. So it's essentially a platform for business, allowing the unlimited scalability, security, simplified development, all that kind of good stuff here that you kind of need in a blockchain. Blockchains are that. If you want to know the definition of a blockchain, it's pretty much that. You know, you want it to be all those things. You don't want to be an absolute mishmash of rubbish. And the fundamental element of this is I'm enjoying this part. Basically, supply chains are kind of key. And a supply chain can get quite large. And you can look at Bitcoin as a blockchain, right? It doesn't really work for version 2, generation 2 supply chains and, you know, talking to other people. It's mainly used as transaction hashes and all kinds of good stuff like that for payments and transferring of a public blockchain ledger. The fundamentals of this is to go a next step further, allowing scalable solutions on a blockchain as a record, publicly and privately, which can be used by developments, businesses and developments even. The biggest problem we've got with all this kind of stuff is scalability. It's all well and good having 1,000,001 parts of a car in a place where you know where it is on a blockchain. But if you can't get to that record fast enough, or it's not easy to find, or it's not secure, and there's elements of security at risk, you've got issues. And this is what they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop elements of, you know, security issues, scalability. Look at Ethereum blockchain, for example. It's not the greatest, we know that. But they're working on steps to make it better. Blockchain is relatively old in terms of technology, but it's made a lot better with cryptocurrency, cryptography. Okay, that's where it kind of all interlinks. So if you're new to the space and you want to learn about blockchain, I suggest you get a book and read about blockchain. It is boring, I'll be honest with you, but businesses are going to develop onto blockchain technology. Over time they will, definitely will. It's already happening. But this is kind of one step that we've got to take. These companies here that can build them for the companies. So what have we got here in Insolar? We've got supply chain and logistics. Okay, the simple stuff realistically. Food, car manufacturing, you know, shipping, records, all kinds of stuff. Anything to do with a record, really. It's crazy to think about it. Energy and utilities. How to kind of cut costs on administrative costs, developing new services and providing direct links between suppliers and consumers. Pretty key. And then you got retail, the retail consumer and goods and all kinds of stuff like that, such as the food industry, the medicine industry. All that kind of stuff there is pretty key. And record of food is quite deep. And you've got to think transportation of food, knowing how long it's been in an area, knowing all kinds of stuff. So much food is wasted. It's ridiculous, actually, because there's not enough adequate record, or the regulation isn't sort of like cross-contaminated between other countries. It's a pain in the arse. And for me, I only know that through my previous job with being in the police and being in the Air Force, because we used to deal with that sort of issue all the time, travelling from country to country. It used to differ from each place. It was an absolute nightmare sometimes. But automotive elements as well. What about recalls on cars? What about certain parts? Are they, you know, fit for purpose? Are they, you know, will they work? Are they needed for that car? What model car? All kinds of so much stuff now when you think about car regulations on emissions. It's crazy. You need a decent record for it. So this is just me talking through use cases that a blockchain is kind of needed for these elements, and Insolar's kind of got an option for them. That is it. It's an option. It isn't a success yet. We know that, but the technology has been built. You can't look at the stock market, right? Going back to those old days, Amazon. You took a punt on Amazon, you're rich. This is a sort of element that we're at. We're at Apple, Amazon, Google. You've even got now. Look at the self-driving cars. Look at the the self-driving technology all around us now. The robotics, the AI. Those are the sort of things that are kind of getting a bit more traction at the minute. And then you got the stuff like gas and oil. How are they going? Oh, it's just unbelievable. You got to look at the trends, and blockchain is definitely a trend you need to be looking at, regardless of what industry you're in. So in terms of this, let me just have a quick glance at this. This kind of gives you an element of, supply chain, how it kind of works. Now, I'm not going to go over all of it, but you've got the main things here. It's ridiculous when you think about it. Fraud and theft. Okay, why? A lot of supply and logistical sort of stuff is faked. When you think about clothes, look, I'm wearing a Vans t-shirt here. You can get that in Spain somewhere on a street corner in front of a rug. We know that. Ray-Ban, another example. You could argue, like, I've got a Bose speaker there. You can counterfeit all of this. It's knowing what's legit, and that's why I like VeChain. VeChain is a similar sort of vein where it's got the RFI tag within it, where it'll basically tell you, is it a legitimate thing? Yes, no, whatever, who cares? That's the sort of thing. We're going to steps to create more money for the ecosystem, the economy, the whole world, essentially, by reducing elements of fraud. So that's one really, really good example. And obviously you got paperwork and all that, waste of money of humans. You don't need 1 million people to record a database. You need one thing. It's here, technically. We're nowhere near there yet, but just to give you an idea, this is kind of just me going over it and my thoughts, okay? Now, there's so much here you can go on with Insolar, like the elements of what they're aiming to do. This is why this is only going to be a smaller video of a basic outline, okay? That's why I'm going to go deeper on other videos, so don't get your knickers in a twist. But all of this, you've got to look at it, how it kind of all works. It's unbelievable how many steps and processes. And you've also got to look at data as well. How many people get your address when you are buying from something in China on Amazon? You've got to go through Amazon to the supply chain, to the delivery driver, into Amazon again, into the driver, oh, it's crazy. About 6 people will probably get your details throughout that process. This sort of thing also eliminates elements of that in recording of data and being more secure. So it's kind of interesting to look at the deeper side of it. So in terms of this is kind of research, but if you look at the Walmart case study, it's kind of interesting when you look at it because Walmart are quite vocal in the blockchain space. And for me, as an investor, that is good. Okay, long term, obviously crypto is infinity, it's baby size. You got to think, right, this is an iPhone 10R, whatever it is, right? This is like going to the days of when the first iPhone was released over, what, 12 years ago nearly now, or whatever it was, 2007? Yeah, give or take. But you got to look, how has technology developed since that first iPhone? It's the same with blockchain, it's going to be like that. So if you're an investor and you're like, oh, I'm wrecked, I've lost all my money, you don't have to be emotional about it. You have to find the projects like this that are really low and that have got the hype around it and the technology, the development of fundamentals around it, and you buy it low. It's simple as that. It's not rocket science. I'll teach this. And that's how I've made most of my money in the industry. I've basically bought a coin that I like and I flipped it. I do hold long-term holdings because I kind of got it wrong at some points, but you know, it kind of happens. But ultimately, majority of my holdings and wealth is in Bitcoin because that is like the reserve. You find coins like this and you invest in them for a period of time, on the weekly, on the monthly, whatever, the daily, the 12-hourly, depending on your lifestyle and what you want to hold on to, you can go for it. These coins, I shit thee not, will generate ridiculous returns in a random cycle pop, even if it is over 3 to 4 weeks or 2 to 3 months, doesn't matter. You look at the stock market, you may be lucky if Apple goes up 10% in 3 months if it's on a bullish run. It's just kind of how it is. It's the way the market works. But with cryptocurrency, you could be lucky to get 100% in a week, but it really does happen. But you can have easily on some of these, and I'm going to go over the chart at the end, 100%, 200%, 300% in a matter of 3 to 4 months if it trickles up. Okay, we're not in the time to buy right now though. However, so have a look at this. This is brilliant. I really do like the research element. I like the element that if blockchain starts getting more buzzies in the media, and obviously companies like Walmart are obviously peddling it, IBM for example, you could argue elements of Microsoft as well, are peddling it. And more companies are adapting and going onto blockchains, and they're using what Insolar are creating or other competitors as well. It's always good for the industry. The industry will start to grow naturally, progressional growth. Bitcoin is king. Remember that. It is like gold. Remember, it's like a new world. Okay, you got gold, you got the economy, and you got stocks, shares, indices, all kinds of stuff like that. We're essentially creating a new world in decentralized platform with Bitcoin being the center of it. Then you got the blockchains, and you got the companies and all kinds of good stuff like that, which are gonna house off it. It's a similar sort of thing. The difference is you've got a token or a coin. That is it. So have a little read through this. It's really interesting to know how sort of information that they've got. Obviously, take all the information with a pinch of salt and make sure you verify and like validate it and make sure it's like, you know, real. It's not fake. So just look at it. Due diligence is the biggest thing you do, but honestly, we are here to make money. That is us. This is a stock market, but cryptocurrency essentially. Too many people, and I want to say it, yes, you probably get far too emotional about investing and trading cryptocurrencies. Okay, the aim is to grow your Bitcoin. This is just one vehicle to do that, essentially. It's the same as having money. You put your money in the stock market, you buy it low, you sell it at a certain point, you have more money. Okay, that is how it works. For some reason, people forget that whole step and just go, I want to hold this coin forever because it might go to the moon. No, you need to sell for profit, you need to then rebuy, reevaluate, do another check, go back in again. Simple as that. Or find another option, or find something better, or find something that's new or hyped up or whatever. You know, that's what you got to do. So I know I'm dropping all kinds of information bombs here, sorry, but in terms of the charts, right, it's not the time to buy. It really isn't at the minute. It's coming down a little bit. Okay, it looks okay. It's starting to trend a little bit above the EMA 34 on the daily, but yesterday I was looking at this region here. So this is why the 25% are here. This is kind of my equity that I would be willing to put in of what I've got. Realistically, this is kind of how I do it anyways. I put a little bit in at the start on the trend. Stop loss just below. If it gets to a certain point, I buy more. And then if it gets over here and it goes above here, I buy even more. It's simple as that. I just keep adding to my position. I call it the climb. I climb into it. Simple as that. Some people ladder down, I climb into it, because with strength, it gets easier. Okay, and you're already averaging a position, and your equity gets higher as a trend gets stronger. What gets stronger, stay strong. Simple, really. So for me, it's coming down. Look at the 6 hour, you can kind of see it's coming down. And again, this is kind of the element of where it is. I mentioned before how you can make stupid money in the crypto market, right? So if I go to the daily time frame again, or actually I'll go to the 3D. The 3D, you can kind of, oh, maybe not. Actually, I'll go to the daily, it's easier. Oosh. Right, so we'll look at, actually April's a really good place to start, because April's a time when Bitcoin, you know, it went. And you got to look at these regions here. If we were to recover back to April 1st, say, okay, if I go to it so it's identical. So obviously 158 days ago, it's 182% gains if you buy right now. If we recover to that point, it's always possible to recover to that point, because we've been a lot higher. We've been stupidly high. We've been over here in ridiculous levels. Everything recovers, guys. Okay, and you got to look at the Fibonacci on this. If you do the backwards way, essentially from the drop to the bottom. Oh, that's the wrong one. I teach people, by the way. You know, so you go from the drop point to this low. The aim of the game is always to retrace elements of the move. Okay, whenever you drop, you bounce back up and you retrace the drop. We're not even remotely there yet. We're gonna go. This is the bottom now. This is a new bottom. But when you look back and you think, well, you know what? Historically, you can kind of see it. There you go. Example for you. It doesn't really happen again, other than that point. So it hit that bottom. It bounced whoop, on the nose. It happens all the time. So we're at the point where we geared up and went up to that. Didn't go much higher. So there's always an option that this could go lower. There's always an option that this could go higher as well. You've got to get in the trend. So on the daily, we're just above the EMA 34. We could easily test that again. So I'm waiting. I'm just waiting out to see what happens. If we trend up nicely, cool. A bit of hype marketing, yeah, it'll go. But look at these little moves here. These little trend moves here. This is when Bitcoin dominance was coming down that time. You know, that over there, it's like 40%. You're not going to get 40% in the stock market in less than 3 weeks. You're not. Nowhere near. Unless you're in penny stock regions, which is pretty risky. But ultimately, we're here to make money, guys. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it is brief enough for you to go over a little element of what Insolar is and what they're aiming to do and why I kind of rate it because of blockchain. But for me, it's money making opportunity. I do not get emotionally attached. There's only 1 or 2 coins that I've held on to just because it doesn't really affect my portfolio at all. It's just like I've got a little bit just sitting around, just floating around. It doesn't really bother me. But majority of my wealth is in Bitcoin. Okay, just sitting there, chilling beans, happy days. But when I see opportunity in the alt market, due to me doing research, due to me knowing what I'm kind of looking at and when to buy and when to sell, it's not bad. I am more than happy waiting. Okay, it doesn't bother me. But this is on my radar, okay? This could quite easily pop above this region and go. However, it needs to retrace. So I'm looking at getting an order in at this point here. If it doesn't work out, I'll have a stop loss just below it and it will invalidate it if it goes down lower. But there's hype with this. There's all kinds of fundamentals happening, so it's kind of good. So you never know what could happen. If this does trickle up though, and even if it goes up to the EMA 30, moving average 200 even, it's 66%. So ladder in, and wait for that. You could be getting some really good gains. But remember, when you're laddering in, you got tight stop loss below certain areas, and you just follow it up. You just keep following, trickling it up. So there you go. See you tomorrow.